wanna know, get into the flow. Hop onto the podcast, chillin' with the bros. Cause the ribbon never misses at the show. So if you coming, then you better up the pole. Rambling, these boys they always rambling, they always here hammering. Cameraman, cop the lens, dinner served up by the chef. We on the net to represent, Raiders here for Texas Tech. We the Ramblin Raiders, get your money up, then talk to me later. We living life.
Chef in the lab.
Yeah, I'm just in
cooking
here
up some locks.
Hey, I went 4-0 last week. I'm cooking up some more locks, so y'all better ride and you better be ready. Yes, chef.
Enjoy it. And most shows be fake, but we McCoy.
Vegas slipping with my max play. SMU +1. Take the points against U of H. Easy hitter.
Jeff, Joe, and Lane, about to run it so you know ya. Run it. About to run it so you know ya. Jeff, Lane, Joe. Yeah, this the Raiders.
I love dubstep. Find out everything runs through.
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
Wow. Let's see, man.
Is our audio working?
Is this the first time in, I don't know how long that we're actually going to have no technical difficulties, knock on wood, get the special knot going for this podcast. What's up, guys? Welcome into the RRIP, featuring none other than your host, myself, the Master Chef. I got to go grab my hat. I kind of feel like people will probably hear that.
We haven't seen that. We haven't seen the old chef hat in a while.
They probably hear that and they're thinking, like, why does this guy keep calling himself chef?
And like, do you cook a lot? Or
there's nothing that alludes to him being any sort of chef. And then Laney's Locks is with me as well, guys. This is a live stream filled with sports gambling, Texas Tech hype, and some generally questionable behavior, picks, banter each and every week.
I would say our picks are probably the most secure.
Yeah.
Banter and takes the least secure.
Well, and on that note, real quick, I'll plug, every Wednesday we're going to be doing this from around 8 o'clock, roughly. Tonight we got started a little bit later at 8:30, but we tweeted that out, so make sure you're following Ramblin Raiders on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. All of those are at Ramblin Raiders. If you search that, you should be able to find us. And then we're also still, despite doing mostly YouTube content, we still put stuff out on Apple Pod and Spotify. Follow us there, rate, review, subscribe. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, Ramblin Raiders Media. Okay, yeah, on that note, our picks are usually what's the most important thing and the most, like you said, concrete when it comes to our takes as far as being accurate. Tonight, a mere 30 minutes before we get started, Big Pick Joe, the gambling specialist himself, after this day where, if you haven't noticed, dude, we're rocking new mics, new equipment. I get it all set up. We finally have a stream where you can hear him after a whole football season of dealing with a slew of technical difficulties. And this man calls me with the audacity to say, my wife just told me about a work dinner I have to go to.
I mean, you see all this new equipment. We're funding all this off our sports betting. So if you're not riding with us, you need to be, because look at all this cool new stuff we got with those winnings. But Big Pick, are we ever going to see him on the pod again? Who knows? He hasn't been on the last couple. His wife is always telling him about a work dinner or something that gets him caught up. So. Or
him having to vacuum the carpet or clean the house. We can't keep up with all the excuses that he comes up with. My Wi-Fi went out. There's
always something with that guy.
Always something. Real quick, before we get started, I do want to chime in. We've been keeping a close eye on this Texas Tech versus Texas women's basketball game. 9:36 left. Our Lady Red Raiders up 3. Up 3 against a top 25 ranked, Texas Longhorn team. Lady Longhorns coming in. and trying to get a dub on the road, never easy in the Big 12. I know that a lot of people are probably tuning into that game right now, but for anyone who's not and who's able to join us, we're going to talk to you all tonight about a little bit of a different formatting that we're doing moving forward. We're gonna. I'm just now noticing, Lane. Looks like we're matching again, man, with the
white long sleeves.
The long white sleeves, man.
Yours is dry fit. Mine, however, is Ramblin Raiders authentic, so it's not.
It's Wally's world, man. We're all just living in it.
What is that like a?
Oh yeah, you're repping the brand, man. That makes me proud.
Is that a Clark Griswold joke or?
No, it's actually one of Mrs. Chef, my wife's uncle. His name's Wally, and he has like all this equipment, so it's his world, man. Wally's world.
Interesting.
I got it at a gift exchange for Christmas.
Wally?
3 days after Christmas, yeah. Or no, it's not his nickname is Wally.
Okay.
His nickname is Wally. So you're telling me they want me to feature like Wally Griffons out there? Okay, so some different formatting. It's a new year. Some are actually saying like, this might be Ramblin Raiders year. I don't know. Getting new equipment really coming up in the amateur podcast scene for Texas Tech content in the Big 12. We're going to start doing these, making them a little bit quicker, trying to expedite these episodes, guys. We want, I know all of you all your ADD asses out there can't pay attention to anything for more than 30 minutes, or else you're on TikTok, you're on your phone, you're watching YouTube Reels, whatever it is. So we're going to start doing shorter episodes on the RIP, 30 minutes. And then I don't know if we're just going to call it the RIP or we're going to have like a gambling.
Gambling.
We could call it Lane. We could revert to the throwback podcast, Laney's Locks.
I think we just put like RIP, like gambling.
The RIP Gamble, like gambling.
Gambling.
So basically, we're going to start putting out 2 episodes a week. We're going to do the RIP on Wednesdays. Ideally, if Tech's playing on a Wednesday, we'll try to maybe work it around to where we do it afterwards for a post-game synopsis and review of what happened, or a pre-game kind of talk and discussions on breaking down the matchup coming up. But we're going to try to stick to Wednesday if everything goes the way we want it to according to plan. If not, oh, that's Willie. Speaking of Wally Willies, we got if I forgot, you can't say his name. He who must not be spoken about, because he will jump up in Lane's lap and just start podding here with us. Fridays, before the weekend slate starts, before all the college basketball your little heart can desire, before NFL weekend 2, we just got through the wild card weekend. When baseball gets going, knowing Joe, might be cricket, Japanese basketball league.
Japanese baseball talk.
Japanese baseball. I don't know, but we're going to do a 10 to 15 minute segment where we're just going to talk about really hot sports bets, that are going on that weekend. And then I can finally live up to the name of the Master Chef and Laney's Locks and Big Joe.
Absolutely. We are on a hot streak right now of late. Joe has been killing it with some across the pond picks, and NFL. There was a lot of action this past weekend with the wild card weekend, and we did well. We cleaned up.
Man, I was going to ask Joe, scrolling through our outline here, how the books have been treating him lately. Yesterday was a good day for us. I had put out Tech money line. Clearly that didn't work out, but I had Kansas State and Iowa State both pegged.
Several people were on Tech money line, I believe, and man, tough beat. And I wouldn't bet it for the rest of the year.
No, I wouldn't either. And I wouldn't bet it, ever again this season. Not to say I don't think Tech's going to win some games, but it's just too risky to put your money down on it. And I think all those Thread Raiders who were betting on Tech yesterday, shout out to Gindy being one of them, he said he was tailing the Chef and actually put them all in a parlay. I think that was a sign of just thirsty Red Raiders, man, we're thirsty, baby, wanting to just yearning for that success that we have not found this year.
We haven't found it quite yet in Big 12 play. Will we ever? We'll find out.
I don't know, man. But speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and move past this. And I hate, Lane, you know me, I never want to take a turn to negative town. I try to stay away from there as much as I can.
I think we're going to turn down there on this episode.
But we're making a U-turn and we're heading straight to negative town right now. There's really no other way to go about it, guys, as far as Texas Tech men's basketball is concerned. Just a hellacious start to the Big 12, and it's this RIP episode is going to be dedicated to what seems to be the disconnect. What is Texas Tech basketball not able to figure out? Kind of what can they do moving forward? But man, we're going all the way to negative town right now, and I'll just say it, hellacious start to the Big 12. Texas Tech is 0-6 in conference play for the first time in what feels like forever. I think you'd have to go back to Pat Knight days in 2013 maybe. And yeah, man, this team is capable of winning. They've been close, but just haven't found a way to get over the hump. It's safe to say at this point, Lane, I don't, you get on Twitter and you're going to be damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you say this team's not going to make the tournament, then you're a bandwagon fan. And
we're the only team.
West Virginia got it done.
We're the only team unbeaten, or unvictorious.
Yeah.
I don't know the right way to say that. Without a win in the Big 12.
Defeated. We're defeated.
We're the only defeated team in the Big 12 right now. West Virginia has wrapped it up against TCU at home, giving them their first win. They're 1-5 now in the Big 12.
Good. Maybe they'll be cocky coming into Lubbock next Wednesday. So 0-6, first time. I think if we go 0-7, which it's looking like there's a very good chance that's going to happen, that'll be the first. I think I saw a tweet saying that would be the first time we started conference 0-7 since like 2013, so a decade ago. Dark times were had by all back then, really football and basketball. Tough time to be a Red Raider, but we kept our guns up, as we're going to continue to do, supporting our athletic programs and yeah, keep, the meme, you see it, you've seen it plenty of times. But as I was saying to Twitter, if you say you're not going to make the tournament, you're a fair weather fan, piece of shit fan. And if you're too optimistic, then you're unrealistic,
delusional
dumbass who doesn't know what they're talking about. So we're gonna, do what we've always done with Ramblin Raiders and just be completely 100% us, dude, authentic and genuine. This team is,
which is all you can do. You can just give your opinion, and that's what it is. It's your opinion. Take it at and whatever.
And as Donald Trump will do, just try to piss everyone off as you do it. No, I'm just kidding. We're not those kind of guys. But I'll say this, man. This team, in my opinion, is not a tournament caliber team. I just don't. I mean, I think that they're a good team. Well, I'll say this. I think that they're a capable team. It hasn't, manifested itself on in the results on the floor, but at this point, it's going to take a heroic, Herculean type effort to get in the tournament.
Probably 10 games in a row.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's, and I'll eat. I said this on
how many
Twitter
games are left in the season? 12 or
12.
12 games.
We're almost to the halfway point.
I think we would have to win 10 of those 12 to get in the tournament.
I'd say 8 or 9 with maybe one in the conference tourney gives you a shot. But yeah, it's a very tall task, a very tall ask to make. And so moving forward, man, this is a time where it's unfamiliar territory for Texas Tech fans. With how good we've been the past couple years, we're all sitting there wondering, how did it get to this, man? Like what's the issue here? And okay, before we do this wellness check, let's do a quick recap. Last 2 games have not been great. I was at the game in Austin, by the way, to all the Red Raiders and Ramblin Raiders followers who showed up to Schultz's. It was a good time. Cheers to y'all. We had a good group there, good showing, but unfortunately it didn't work out at the Moody Center. I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to do it as well. The Moody Center, it's a nice facility. It's a really cool venue for them, cool arena. UT was smart. They had a great vision in downsizing their stadium. It clearly made an impact in the fact that tickets are more expensive. It's harder for Tech fans to be able to get affordable tickets and get in there. It was sold out-ish. I mean, it felt like it was a pretty packed crowd. All orange. Mostly orange. There were some Red Raiders sprinkled in and out, but it wasn't the Lubbock takeover that we've seen in the past. So kudos to UT. I guess if you can't fill up your big stadium, downsize to a little stadium and let that work out for you. Texas Tech up, same context as the TCU game. Kind of same notebook. You're up in the first half. You're playing really well. You can't sustain that success. You let it slide in the second half, and then you just can't finish.
Yeah, and that's, you're saying this team's not a tournament team. They're not. It's not that they're not capable. It's not that they're not talented enough. It's the fact that they can't finish games is why they're not a tournament team this year and why they're not playing like a tournament team.
Yeah.
And they haven't been able to finish games down the stretch. And a lot of these Big 12 games are going to be close, and we haven't been able to make that big play that you can hang your hat on that goes and gets you a win. We just haven't found that guy to do that and haven't found, that that team mentality of making that play and getting over the hump. So it's something they're going to have to figure out here soon to start getting some wins, but it's not looking like that. But you got to remember this team's a young team. We replaced everyone except for one guy from last year. So it's still as we're playing.
Your seniors are not like they haven't been veterans in the program.
As guys are playing, this is a different territory for Tech fans, given the past couple years of success we've had. But you can look at this as a rebuilding year if you can. I mean, and it is, in my opinion. There's a lot of guys that are going to be coming back, but it's tough, and you just got to keep grinding, keep working at it, keep getting better as a squad.
You just got to keep on rolling.
You got to keep rolling. I mean, that's part of it, and you got to grow up here moving into next year.
No, like as fans, we have to grow up. Like as fans, you have to grow up and just say like we're not that great right now, and it's tough.
Keep building towards the future.
Keep working through the pitfalls. So Tech drops. They only lose to 2 on the road, top 10 team against UT. And this is what's so infuriating about this team to me is that you go on the road and put up such a valiant effort that guess what? Vegas comes back against the top 25 and Baylor at home and says, we're going to give Baylor 2.5 points. We think Tech can win this game by a bucket. And what do? You drop your 3rd straight home game in conference play, but just 3rd straight home game in general. And it's at the hands of this Baylor team that's solid, has young talent, has been in scrappy games all year.
And they shot the ball lights out, which, I mean, they clearly are capable of. They've been doing a lot of that this year. But, I mean, hats off to them. They did shoot the ball extremely well in that game. It seemed like every time we made a run, tried to cut into the lead, they made a big play to sustain their lead. So, kind of got to give their hats off to them.
Shout out to MJ Mahan. What's up, man? Thanks for joining the chat. The inability to finish games is very reminiscent of the Wells era in football. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, it's been very hard to watch, and I think that it's Tech fans are just begging for this team to close a game out and finish strong. You lose to Baylor 81-47, 7-point game. Honestly, wasn't as close as even that indicated. I think you were pretty much trying to claw your way back into this game throughout the duration of the second half. Really, first half too. You're down 9 in the first half. Just not a great outing for Texas Tech. And unlike the UT game last Saturday, this one was it never really felt in reach for the Red Raiders. So it's tough. So
just to kind of comment off of that comment right there, it's kind of like this year's team doesn't have that kind of toughness that has been our culture of late, that, where we're getting every 50-50 ball. We're making the extra plays. We're making the little plays that kind of keep us in the game, keeps us, getting over the hump. We're not making those plays this year. Yeah. And, maybe that's reflecting on the coaching. Maybe it's the players that, you recruited aren't, not having that dog yet in them.
But
that's a thing that can be coached into them. So we'll just see how it goes down the stretch. But it seems like this year we just haven't had that desire to go get the 50-50 balls, to make the little things work.
Sometimes, like, if you don't have that dog in you, if you look hard enough, you can find that dog in yourself.
You can.
So these guys can find that dog. And I apologize, MJ. It's pronounced MJ, if you start following the Ramblin Raiders consistently, you're going to learn I am the king of pronouncing names incorrectly. MJ Mahan. Thank you for that, and hopefully we get some more people in the chat here as the Lady Red Raiders game concludes. But we're going to keep it rolling. Wellness check. How I was going to ask Joe and you, and just you tonight, Laney's Locks. How are you coping with the fact that we went from we have it all, just to absolute kind of butt here in a year. You're up on the mountaintop, you're seeing everything for what it is, you're glorious, and then it's a black diamond all the way down, and you're crashing into every tree.
It's been pretty tough to watch these games. I mean, just tune in when you're watching it. It sucks to watch because you're just watching your team get beat.
I see that pain behind your eyes. It hurts.
Yeah, coping mechanism. I don't know. I just pour myself into wedding planning and whatnot.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, not really, but
bank work, looking at bank finances.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So it's been tough, though, for sure.
I mean, my wife and I, because of this unfortunate circumstance with Texas Tech, we're looking at trying to buy a house now, maybe, so I can get my mind on something else, distracted. Even if that
Lord.
means like going into bankruptcy. I mean, that's the point where Texas
And
Tech
sometimes
fans,
you have to take that step.
yeah.
In order for Tech basketball to come out of the hole,
'Cause
you have to put yourself in bankruptcy.
I mean, it's one of those things where they see you down that bad.
They have to give you a win.
It incentivizes them, encourages them to come out and perform because they see you down like bad. No, that's not why. It's not why me and my wife are potentially looking for houses, but it has been a nice distraction. Okay, not that either. Not that either. So, what seems to be next question to you, Lane? Clearly, there's a disconnect with this team because the talent's there. You got guys that are more than capable. You see Pop Isaacs, I would argue one of the best freshmen in the Big 12 this year. You have
Certainly.
A guy in Jalen Tyson who I think people need to remember. I talked about this on a pregame space. Actually, who am I kidding? Our pregame space yesterday. A guy who people forget, this is his first year. And MJ says 30 years of financial debt is a stellar way to cope. I mean, I thought so, MJ. 30 years of crippling debt. Like, if I'm not depressed because of Texas Tech basketball, at least I can be depressed about my financial situation I'm undergoing.
You have to put yourself in a different depression to like eliminate one depression.
Yeah, some say to get rid of one depression, you got to create another one. Maybe I should just go pour myself another gin drink on that note. I just drink frosty brews. That's another good way to cope, I will say. I was at our favorite bar. Some call it the Honey Hole Pimlico last night. And yeah, it's good. It's a good way it makes the medicine go down a little bit smoother. You have Jalen Tyson, who I think people need to remember is this is actually his first year of playing a full season of basketball.
Right.
He's young. He shows glimpses. He hit some big threes last night. He has spurts where he's crashing the boards hard or where he's doing something, but then he's also getting mixed up on D. He's learning. He's learning.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the biggest thing with this team is to continue
They're
to
learning.
keep, they're just a learning curve of growing within this defense. It's going to help them tremendously next year. You hope it pays off at some point.
You hope very much so that it pays off for him. So you got guys like Bacho who had a big offseason, who's solid. Fardas, Lane and I were talking about, pre-recording is clearly not in
Game shape.
He's still working his way back into it, but shows glimpses of being able to step out and knock it down, big body down low, has that nice little don't jump off the ground, but just floater off the glass. Who else are we missing here? Young guys. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Fisher yet, which I think is concerning to me in the sense of I hope we don't lose him because we're not trying to develop him, especially in a year where clearly wins are not a commodity easy to come by. Robert Jennings is a guy I think you got to keep grooming and working these freshmen, but the talent's there. So Lane, sorry, back to my point. Where's the disconnect? What is this team just not? What are they missing that is resulting in what we're seeing right now, being 0-6 in conference?
I don't know what it exactly is, but defensively, we just look really bad. We look really bad defensively.
Yeah,
and maybe they have free passes to bash Rip Rocks, and that's why they're bad defensively. Maybe that's the issue.
You're about to make me act up and go get that Hendrix. So for me, and this is something I spoke on, again, I keep referencing it, but it was in the moment last night on these Twitter spaces, something I talked about, defensive identity. This team has
none.
This program has lost its identity of what got it to the exemplary elite status that it's been in. Defense has been your identity for the last couple of years. Yeah, it's not always flashy. It's not always fun to watch, but knowing that your defense is always going to be solid has been a consistency for Texas Tech fans. That is not the case this year whatsoever. And the way I look at it, I'd say you have a slightly above average offense. You got scores a little bit above average offense with a very mid to low level defense. I mean, the no middle defense is being broke down left and right. Guys can't, when we switch, guys get out of position. They get lost on quick rotations. I don't know if it's like a no middle defense breaker that these coaches are incorporating, but dudes seem to be really driving hard into the lane, doing everything they can to get in the middle, kicking it out to wide open shooters or guys who are slightly contested who are knocking down threes. defense is your biggest issue right now, which I think is really more is concerning because your head coach is prides himself on and has notoriously been known as a defensive guru.
Yeah, I think part of the issue is, a lot of fans were calling for we got to figure out offense last year. We got to figure out this offense, got to figure out offense. Well, what does Mark Adams do? He goes out and he tries to recruit heavily on the offensive side of the ball.
And does well at it.
But it turns around and I think what he might have been thinking was, let me recruit offense, guys that can play. I'll bring them in here and just teach them my defense and we'll be able to get it done.
It's not.
And it just hasn't. That's the disconnect. It hasn't worked for him yet so far. Hopefully, giving a couple, a year, give these guys a year under their belt. Maybe they can transition a little bit better into that defensive role. So we'll just have to see. I think time will tell.
And when you're not, let's see, 100% accurate, Baylor did not struggle at all finding space. Maybe it's because this is MJ Mahan. Maybe it's because this is a younger team, but it's not good right now. No, it's not. And look, guys, here's the other problem is that, well, and I don't want to dive too deep into the weeds because we're at 25 minutes here, but we got older guys on this team that are seeing a lot of playing time. I mean, Kevin O'Banner, Davion Harmon, Fardos.
But these are guys that
Bacho's he's a junior now?
He's a sophomore, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's a sophomore.
He was a freshman last year. But
Erwin Walton.
Some of those guys, aside from Kevin O'Banner, have not been with Mark Adams.
In the system.
So, I mean, they're not have been in the system.
Here's the point I was going to make was that I don't necessarily know if it's a younger team issue. I think it's a new team not either capable of running Mark Adams' defense or not quite understanding the fluidity and the role of how that defense is played. Either way, it's not good. It hasn't worked out for us this year. And here's where I'll go is that look, guys. Mark Adams, actually, this is a good kind of transitioning point here. My next question was going to be, what's your temperature check on this coaching staff, and how much of this do you put on Mark Adams? Look, I'm not calling for Mark Adams' head. I had a guy, and I don't think he was trying to make a malicious comment or point. He was just pointing it out after I got off of RC Maxfield's Twitter space last night, in which me and him were kind of talking about this stuff. He just said, wow, it seems like RC and Ramblin Raiders are really calling for Coach Adams' head, or they want him gone. It's crazy how much can change in the course of a year. Let me just dispel that notion right now completely. I don't want Mark Adams gone. Look, dude, the guy he got a national coaching accolade last year, and he also got a Big 12 coaching accolade. I mean,
he also took the team to the Sweet 16.
This dude knows how to coach. He knows how to coach what he wants to coach, right? Like, the problem to me with Coach Adams, this coaching staff is not on
the hot seat or anything yet.
They're not, but they're also not absent of blame. They're not absent of blame. I'll say this. I think that Coach Adams has his bread and butter, this no middle or variations of the no middle defense, and he brought in some help for the offense. The offense, while it could improve, has looked better because you have guys like Pop Isaacs who can just bust threes kind of out of nowhere. Your offense looks like it's getting better. My issue sort of with what I'm seeing this year, and I think it time could tell. Maybe it's guys maturing, developing, getting better at Mark Adams' system. Maybe it's recruiting, getting other guys in here that can offset some of the deficiencies that we're seeing on the defense this year while we also continue to exhibit decent offensive behavior. I hope Willie's not trying to take shit back there.
No, he's fine.
No, he's just roaming. Mark Adams, what's gotten me kind of confused this year is that clearly this team cannot run his version of the no middle defense. Successfully. This team, yes, exactly. They've tried it, but they haven't done it successfully. We cannot switch all five positions. We cannot do it. And the fact that finally we've maybe tried to go away from it a little bit, not much. All this we said, adapting. As a coach, you have to be able to adjust. That's what I'm not seeing this year. That's where my biggest concern lies with a coach who I don't want us to get rid of Mark Adams by any means. That would be a completely that would be an overreaction. Next year we'll get. No, I'm just kidding. That would be an overreaction. I mean, if he loses another 2 games, like maybe we'll talk about it. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Mark Adams is here.
Right. There's been a serious lack of
being able to adjust.
An attempt at adjusting, an attempt at trying, hey, this defense is not working for us. We were getting smoked. I mean, it wasn't just open threes last night.
No.
They were getting wide open dunks last night.
Guys in what I'm hearing is
completely lost.
Rotation, switching. Guys are getting lost out there.
Absolutely.
At what point do you say, okay, this
gotta
team,
try something.
Look, we're going to keep our bread and butter in our back pocket. We can try to switch it up, go to it later. How am I going to get the roster that I have right now, that I've assembled? How do I get this roster to play a better version of some kind of defense? How can I play to their strengths? I'll be honest, Davion Harmon is a guy who I think brings a lot to the table. I don't know if he can. He's a guy to me that gets beat and creates open threes. I think maybe you got to put him in either a zone situation or one-on-one and tell him to sag off of a guy and give him some room. I'll get to MJ's comment here in a second. My point being is we haven't been able to adapt. I thought in Lyle Leong, if you'll remember, Lane, you will remember.
I do
stud
remember
receiver
Lyle, yeah.
at Texas Tech. He was on. I know he does the podcast with RC and was on that space last night. And he brought up some interesting points talking about, look, at some point, your guys, they're getting paid $25,000 a year through NIL. They got to be able to step up and do what they're being asked to
Absolutely.
do. And I get that. And he referenced Mike Leach, RRIP. But he was saying,
put them in a position to be successful.
well, here's the thing. He was saying, and especially at the high school and at the college level, the pros, they kind of, you're more of a, let me just be a chess piece guy for a second. At the college level still, even with NIL, and he was referencing Mike Leach saying, when he recruited players, it didn't matter. They were going to run the air raid. You were always going to run the air raid.
But he recruited.
That's true. That's fair. But at the same time, in game, if this defense was giving Leach something that he hadn't already prepared for, he was going to adjust. He was going to. You have to, as a coach. I think one of your kind of telltale signs of a Hall of Famer coach is you have to be able not to throw your bread and butter out the window. You don't want to do that, but you have to be able to make tweaks in what sort of, oh God, I'm about to do that thing where I make up a word. Meticulous. Is that the right word?
I don't know.
I think it's no, it's not. I'm not saying that right.
Meticulous is a word.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Sorry, I was saying against myself. You got to be able to make those kind of intricate, meticulous changes. Are you sure it's meticulous?
That's a word.
That is a word.
Yes.
All right, I'll look
I don't
it up
know
in
if
a
it's the
second.
word you're looking for.
The peanut gallery. We'll get that going. But you have to be able to make those, meticulous kind of, changes to what you're doing. What up, Willie? And do the little tweaks. You have to be able to adjust minimally, marginally, to make yourself better. And this year we have not done it whatsoever.
No, we haven't. And sorry, Willie's distracting me a little bit, but it's the like you were saying, you have to be, as a coach, not necessarily in game, but throughout the season,
You got to tweak.
if this is not working, you have to be able to put your guys in a position to make them successful. And with Mark Adams, you can't just keep running the same thing and getting scored on like you did against Baylor last night. You have to be able to adjust slightly. You don't have to completely throw it out. You just maybe throw variations of your defense.
I'm a wordsmith and a gentleman.
Yeah,
and a
meticulous.
scholar. Meticulous. I was dead ass. I don't know why I'm like freaking, like I was second guessing myself. Oh, go ahead.
What I was just saying is you have to be able to throw a variation of your defense, a variation of another defense. Mix it up. Maybe you're throwing, 3, 4, 5 different. I mean, I don't know if this team's capable of that. I'm not in practice, but you have to do something to put your guys in a better position to play better defense.
And I was going to say I agree with Coach Leong. Now he coaches high school football.
At some point, your guys are going to
no, and I agree. Like eventually, dudes are going to have to just make plays.
Eventually, you're going to have some dogs,
And that might be part of it. Mark Adams might be sitting there going, "Hey, I know this shit works.
and I don't have the guy.
We got to do it. Yeah, I don't have the cats to do it." And at that point, it's do you go up to player X and say, "Hey, look, man, tonight, either I need you to play some damn defense, or guess what? Kerwin Walton's taking some minutes. Demarion Williams is taking some minutes. Robert Jennings, Elijah Fisher are taking some minutes. I know what you're capable of, but I need more out of you on defense." And and I know that's coaches do that sometimes.
Yeah.
If you got to pressure a guy by saying like, if you're not showing me what you're capable of, or And sometimes you just don't have the cats to do it.
Yeah,
and that might be the
to
case.
Another point of what you're kind of saying back with, Mike Leach as the example. Coach Leong was saying, you're going to come here and you're going to run the air raid, and that's what we're going to do, and it works.
Yeah.
The other side of that, though, is something that Mark Adams didn't do. Coach Leach recruited his guys.
Yeah.
He knew these guys are going to be successful in this system.
And this might be a learning moment for
Mark Adams tried to go out and recruit different type of players that are really good offensively, can do this offensively, can do that offensively, not quite known for their defense. And are we seeing the repercussions of that?
Could this be a learning kind of curve?
Yes.
Like you got to recruit guys to that system, and that's a good point too, Lane. But I will say, I get like eventually guys got to make plays and step up. But I think the hallmark sign of a good coach, you have to be able to make minimal adjustments.
Yeah, and you don't have to just throw.
Not a lot. You don't have to don't throw your bread and butter out the window.
You got to make
but
some tweaks.
Yeah, you got to tweak. Okay, real quick, get to the chat. I said on RC Space last night that Adams looks lost on the sideline this year, like he doesn't know how to adjust with his team. I agree. I think that he might be in a position where he just – because here's the thing, guys, with Adams. The dude has had a track record of success. He didn't just
Everywhere.
He didn't just forget how to coach.
He didn't just have success at Texas Tech either. He's had success a lot of different places.
But he wasn't like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Like the dude knows how to coach. I think that and that's what we just talked about. There's a disconnect. I don't know if it's – I'm not going to speculate on off-court issues that are alleged and rumors. We don't get into that stuff unless it's about Laney's Locks or Big Pick Joe. Then we're going to dive in 100%, go full tabloid on their ass. But I don't know if it's off field or off court. I don't know if it's just his personnel is not clicking and getting it. I don't know if it's whatever it is. I don't know if it's Adams just saying, "Look, man, these guys are good, but they don't understand my system well."
And it could be a learning curve that we're going through.
It could be some younger dudes and some older dudes who need to learn and develop and understand the system. Ultimately,
you better figure it out and figure it out quick.
Well, but I'm not going to say that as bad as this team has been this year, I'm not going to throw them back into the Pat Knight 2013 dark days. Because they aren't bad, guys. Shit, we lost to Kansas.
We lost so many games
3.
by
We lost to
possession.
top 10 UT by 2. OU overtime. You get your ass kicked by Iowa State, who might win the conference. Looks like one of the better teams in the conference. And then you play
TCU close. You play Baylor to it. I mean,
it's not this isn't a bad team.
No, it's not
a bad team.
It's just not as good as teams we've seen the past 3 years.
Something's missing, and a lot of it revolves around turnovers, defense, and again, being able to adjust and scheme in a way that gets your guys in the best position to win and close games out and finish. I think that's a big problem, and I still believe in Adams. I'll go on record right now and say it. I still believe in Coach Adams. In fact, I'm going to pull – what's the minute marker? 36. I'm going to pull this soundbite later and tag him in it and support him. But there's something – and Carl, I was about to get to that. There's something about I still believe in Coach Adams. There's just this is a down year. We're trying to figure some shit out.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you again, MJ, for that comment. Carl says, bro, the professional mics look damn good. Just think, next week, Friday, we're going to do another ep with Big Pick Joe. If he doesn't have like a first or like a 1-year-old's birthday, or going to have to like give his dog a bath or some stupid, stuff going on. You're going to see me and Lane not only with these badass mics, but leaning in with some headphones on.
And I just those are only for pod use. Like, I can't take these headphones home with me.
No, absolutely not. Just simulating it. It already feels more legit than what we're doing right now. Carl, and I was about to get on that. I want to give a big shout out. Reckham Tech, horns down, got UT Lady Longhorn basketball team. Red Raiders, it was personal.
Wow, lot of action.
I forgot that guy's name, like Vic something, but that Jobin-ass doucher coach that was talking trash about Coach Gerlich and how whenever she was, he was trying to defend his table people and all that bullshit in Austin last year. Suck on that, dude. Suck on that.
Now, did we get him at home or did we get him away?
This got him at home. 68 to 64. Texas Tech wins. Lady Red Raider basketball. All I'm going to say is, like, you don't come into the USA and Coach Gerlich's House of Pain and not expect to walk away without having to put some, like, Band-Aids on yourself.
Put some respect on that name.
You put some respect on our name. And also, like, you talked all that trash last year on the road at UT.
Yeah,
it's time to pay the piper, Coach Vic. you guys took that L and you take it all the way back with you to Austin, Texas. So proud, guns up, of Coach Gerlich and of the Lady Red Raider basketball team. Huge dub against a top 25 team.
Yeah, absolutely. Big win for the Lady Raiders.
Let's go. All right, Lane, we're at 39. Time to cue it up. We went 10 minutes over. I promise.
Get the hell out of here.
We're going to start getting these to 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Keep us on track here.
I think 40 minutes is pretty good. I mean, I got to get some steam off my chest.
No, I mean, this is a therapy session. In fact, I want more people to get involved and chime in here and air out their frustrations. Carl, the boys are cooking. By the way, Carl, I meant to text you today. I want to do a check-in with you tomorrow. We got a lot of new initiatives, a lot of new things going on with Ramblin Raiders. Make sure you're following us across all social medias at Ramblin Raiders, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the works. Gerlich is the perfect coach for the team. 100%, man. She's the best. So our website, ramblinraiders.com, there's going to be more write-ups going on. Pat is really, kind of bunkering down on our website, making sure that that's readily available for our listeners. Merch.
Oh, yeah.
And our viewers, merch is hot.
Merch, but
if y'all saw my Ramblin Raiders hoodie I wore, I've worn it twice now. A lot of good feedback on it. It's just a great time to be a part of the Ramblin Raiders family.
It really is. It really is.
Okay, and with that,
get us out of here, man.
I'm on.
As MJ said, this is cheaper than therapy. Yeah. Why pay for therapy when you can just come air it out here?
MJ, we salute you. Remember, every Wednesday and Friday for our sports bettors, we're going to be doing gambling advice. Actually, I won't say advice. I feel like they can have legal ramifications. Yeah, it's not advice. It's just legal gambling suggestions. Hey, as Ron Burgundy once said, we're going to throw it out there. You can either take it in or you can give it right back. But just know if you ride or fade or tail us or whatever, it is what it is, man. We're
just know how we pay for these mics, all right?
We might be losing with you. We're all in this together, dude. Oh, there we go.
Oh, you got to get rid of those ads, man.
My real question is how is this thing going to pick up nice? All right, Lane.
I don't think that's necessary.
Let's see what's up, dude.
But yeah,
it's a wrap. Thank y'all for joining the RIP. Wish Joe could have made it, but
who's there?
He was just his little heart couldn't take it anymore. Lane,
have a good week. Let's get a dub on Saturday against K-State.
Guns up high. Guess what? There's not a more dangerous team out there than a team with nothing to lose. Watch out, Manhattan, Kansas. Wreck 'em. We out. We out. We out. Not our best player. That was